Faith-Dipped Chocolate, Chapter 6, Salty Sweet. I snuggle down in the chair, tucking the warm blanket around my body. A classic thriller lay open in my lap, and to my right sat one of my favorite sweet treats, a small dish of chocolate-covered pretzels. The salty and sweet flavors are, in my opinion, a perfect complement to each other. My brain does a double dance of satisfaction when these taste buds kick in simultaneously. That evening, I set aside my book and decided to call my sister at her bakery. Separated by hundreds of miles, we make a point of keeping in touch by phone as often as possible. These less than personal visits do not, however, allow me to partake of the many wonderful creations she conjures up in her amazing cakes bakery. Hi, Gretel. What are you up to today? I didn't attempt to strain the expectancy from my voice. Many of our conversations take place while she is busy molding gum paste flowers, pouring fondant, or baking some glorious confection. Now, I don't know if that's fondue or fondant, F-O-N-D-A-N-T. Sorry, I'm not too sure. Hearing her describe her magnificent creations is the next best thing to being there. I'm getting ready to dip pretzels. Dip pretzels? I asked, my sweet tooth aching with pleasure at the thought. You aren't going to believe this, but I'm eating chocolate-covered pretzels right now. Really? She answered, obviously unimpressed. I'm making them for a baby shower. I use the large rods, not the little knot-shaped ones. First, I dip the end in caramel, and then I dip it in chocolate. When they dry, I slip each into a cellophane sleeve and tie it with a pretty ribbon. Aww. I felt my eyes bug out like a cartoon character slammed with a mallet. My distress leached into my voice. Why on earth would you want to do that? I heard the unusual rustle of her workshop momentarily as confusion took its place. What are you talking about? She asked. What am I talking about? You have a perfectly delicious pretzel and a pot of soul-satisfying chocolate. What more do you need? Why ruin that wonderful combination by dipping the pretzel in caramel first? Because the caramel cuts the salt, she responded with matter-of-fact logic. But why would you want to do that? I think that's obvious. My poor sister then had to listen to my tirade of how salt and sweet were meant for each other. After some considerable discussion, we parted without my persuasive powers winning out. Gretel doesn't like the taste of salt with sweet, and by now I think it's clear that I do. This whole unsettling exchange reminded me of a conversation I had with a coworker of mine. We were discussing the differences in our church services. She attends sorry, I get stuck on words once in a while. Liturgical, I don't know, Liturgical. And since it seems to be separated by a dash, it must be a disability of mine. I have a hard time pronouncing words when they're separated by a dash like that. Okay, so she attends a liturgical church. They hold a somewhat formal service where the priests wear robes. The order of the service is set by the church hierarchy, and the people accept the decisions made by those who rule their denomination. I belong to a congregational church. Our minister wears a suit and tie. The service is less formal, and decisions are made by vote. What does this have to do with chocolate-covered pretzels? Well, it finally occurred to me that it doesn't really matter how we serve up our chocolate-covered pretzels. Even if my sister adds caramel to suit her taste, her treat still starts with the same pretzel and ends with it being covered in chocolate. Jesus Christ should be the foundation of our Christian faith, no matter what form of worship. Individuals may exhibit reverence by kneeling or by dancing. Voices may accompany electric guitars, a cathedral's organ, or nothing at all. Differences in mannerisms and personality are not issues of faith. They are simply evidence that our Lord is the grand master of variety. For no one can lay any foundation other than the one that has been laid. That foundation is Jesus Christ. That's 1 Corinthians 3:11. A Coca quote. Milton Hershey, the founder of the famous Hershey chocolate empire, started out making caramels. Once he discovered chocolate, however, he sold his caramel business and devoted himself solely to his new love. Caramels are only a fad. Chocolate is a permanent thing. Milton Snavely Hershey. That ends chapter 6.